I will say that I'm sad that you're not a Christian anymore, because I can sense, perhaps it's because you felt that Christians weren't doing a good job defending their beliefs.
Yeah, I think that God should be feared. And there's a whole bunch of other things I can say from the Quran and Islamic texts, etc. But to keep it very vague and very broad for people who are not Islamic, I felt God when I was in an Islamic country. If I went to an Islamic country,
That's the problem.
I felt God. You don't feel any God. How is it a Christian country if Satanists are mocking Jesus on the streets?
I understand what you're saying, and I was...
Pause it right there. Andrew Tate made a very, very good point when he said that he thinks that God should be feared. I believe that that is 100% true. I think that we should fear God and seek after him and love him and keep his commandments and do what he says to do. He said that he could feel God when he went into an Islamic country. Now, Candace, when he said that, Candace started to make a great point where she was saying there's a problem that's going on here in the West where people are driven based off of their feelings. So when Andrew says that he could feel God when he went to an Islamic country, just because you feel something doesn't mean that it's true. Just because you feel like somebody's behind you when you go through an alleyway and you feel like you're about to be harmed, so you turn around and look to see if somebody's behind you, there's nobody there. So your feelings can deceive you clearly, and they deceive us all the time. So we shouldn't live our lives based off of what we feel, but we should live our lives based off of what we know to be true. And if we don't know what is true, we should seek what is true until we find that which is true and hold on to the truth. And we should test everything for truth. In the Bible, it says that we should test all things for truth and hold on to that which is good. If it's a lie, you let it go. If it's true, you hold on to it, plain and simple. So when you say you go to an Islamic country and you feel God, I mean, that doesn't mean that that is a truth. Take that back. They both made some good points. I think America is a perfect example that shows that when people have freedom to say what they want, do what they want, that their feelings will take them anywhere and everywhere.
But I think that right now America is facing a spiritual battle, and for the first time in a very long time, Christians are starting to stand up and speak about our principles.
I hope so.
And I could have used you as a stop.
I know, but I have seen in California, I've seen Christians and Muslims get side by side when they were complaining about the LGBT
I did see that
schools, which is fantastic. And I know what you're saying, and that is true, but it's almost like when I go to an Islamic country, I feel God around. You see it in the way the people are dressed. You see it in the fact that everyone's in a family. You see it in the fact that there's a mosque on every corner. It's in the air. And it's almost like when I'm in Dubai and I'm talking to my friends, my Islamic friends, and I explain to them the things you have to protect your child from in an American school, they literally think I'm lying. They're like, no, surely. Like, it's mind-bending to them.
What about African countries that are Christian?
Okay, so yeah, this is interesting. So
yeah, they still are mind-blown by the concept of what we're fighting in America. So America is unique. We shouldn't say that this is the blanket.
You're right. There are Christian countries which still take Christianity.
And they're like, what do you mean men can be women? Like, they think you're crazy.
And we're in Romania, and Romania is a country which is very conservative and very Christian.
Very Christian.
And they don't buy into any of this garbage either.
None of it.
So this is absolutely not true. It's unfair to say all Christian countries are like that.
America is an exception, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I think like the whole West is, unfortunately.
He added that in Islam, it is very clear that if something is haram, then it is strictly prohibited, no matter what. Candace, on the other hand, tried to attack the beliefs of Andrew Tate and convince him to return to Christianity. She tried to explain to Tate that he is considering the US and UK as Christian countries, while they're run by Satanists. And the countries that are actually Christian countries do not stoop down to accept such innovations.
That's a fact.
She also argued by giving the example of Christian African countries, which do not support the idea of accepting sinful ideas. When a person accepted the truth after experiencing every other way, he will not be able to get convinced to get back to the false life he was previously living. Islam is the only religion that has set clear boundaries that cannot be crossed, no matter how rich or poor one is, no matter which part of the world one lives in. And no matter what the era is, our religion was perfected for us 1400 years ago. And the principles and all the rules set down at that time were applicable then, are applicable now, and will be applicable till the very end of time.
I'm glad he said that. Oh my goodness. And he gave us a verse too from the Quran that says that. It's from Surah Al-Midiyah, verse 3. It says, "This day have I perfected for you your religion and completed my favor upon you and have approved for you Islam as a religion." Okay, so let's just go ahead and bury Islam as a religion right now. I feel like Andrew Tate doesn't really understand what the Quran truly says. And this guy right here that made the video about the interview and then added in his little piece and said that the rules that applied in Islam back then apply now and will apply forever. So why in the Quran does it say that it is okay to marry and sleep with minors? Are you okay with mounting a kid? That's pedophilia, my friend. That's child molestation. That's child rape, my guy. A child. Now, if you're a Muslim, you're like, the Quran doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. I knew you would say that, my friend. And that's exactly why I got the verse right here up on the laptop. I'm going to pop it up on the screen and we'll read it together. How about we read it together? All right, so this is Quran, Surah At-Taki, and this is 65:4. All right, and I'm gonna make sure I put the Arabic up on the screen, and I'm gonna have the English translation here on the screen. All right, now I'm gonna give you guys some context about what this verse is talking about. This verse is talking about something called iddah. In the Islamic belief, there's something called iddah. Iddah is the waiting period after somebody dies or there's a divorce. The waiting period, before you grieve and move on. I'm talking about this for women, right? So in Surah At-Taki 65:4 says, "And for those who no longer expect menstruation," keep in mind, menstruation is when a lady has her period. "And those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, then their period is 3 months." So if she no longer has her period and she loses her husband or there's a divorce, she has to wait 3 months of grieving and whatnot before she moves on. Now, next line is the juicy part. And then this is the next line, the juicy part, where it says, "Those who have not menstruated." Hold on a second. Pause. Those who have not menstruated. A woman, according to statistics, begins to menstruate around 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
That's not a punchline. That's real facts. I ain't playing games.
Really young. So my question to you, sir, is why are you married to a minor? And why are you mounting a minor? Why is Islam saying that it is okay for you to sleep with children and marry them? Are you okay with this? Mr. Tate, are you okay with this? All right, this is what the Quran is saying. The Prophet Muhammad. Now, if you want to say, well, I don't agree with that, that's not something that should be an example. Did you know that the Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl, and then 3 years later into their marriage, when she was 9 years old, he had sex with her? He mounted her when he was an old head? When he was old? Come on, bro. This is all facts. Y'all think I'm lying? Go look it up. And the Quran okays it. He's saying you notice it when you're in the families, the way that they're dressed and stuff like that, right? But did you know that in the Quran, that if a woman says no to her husband, he can beat her? Did you know that? It's in the Quran. It is in the Quran. Just letting you know. Yeah. Just want to let you know. So, you say you go to these Islamic countries, Another thing is something called jizya. If you were a non-believer living in a nation that was under Islamic rule, you had to pay this tax because you were a non-believer, which was called jizya. Now, Muslims, according to the Quran, they had to fight the unbelievers until they pay jizya. So I'm being forced to pay this tax because I don't believe that this prophet is a prophet, and I don't believe that Allah is a God. Because God does not accept people sleeping with minors. The Bible says, Jesus says that if you offend one of these little ones, it's better that a millstone be tied around your neck and you be cast into the depths of the sea. Here it says that you can marry them and sleep with children. That's completely whack. That's completely wrong. And then it says if you're not a believer of this way, then they have to fight you until you pay jizya. That's not okay. Like, comment, subscribe if you rock with this content. Let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna get at y'all in the next reaction video. Peace out.